What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another one of our game recaps. Today, we're going to be looking over the games from August 24th, and we're going to be doing one of these every single day that there are games during the preseason and the regular season. The first game was the Steelers and the Falcons. The Steelers stomped them 24-0. Kenny Pickett looked great today, 4-4 for 86 yards. Really good stuff from him. Mitch Trubisky was 7-9 for 54 yards. Another really good day. He had a long rush too, 24-yarder. Mason Rudolph is 3-7 for 15 yards, not as impressive there. And Tanner Morgan, who I really only know from a Twitter Spaces with Tim Tebow like a year or so ago, he was 1-4 for -4 yards. So it looks pretty solid that it's going to be Pickett, Trubisky, Mason Rudolph as the quarterbacks for this team. Anthony McFarland led the way for all rushers. He had 55 yards on 10 carries and a touchdown. Really good stuff from him. It looks like he might have a third down role going forward, but we'll just have to watch that. Xavier Valade was right behind him. He had 26 yards. Trubisky had that 24-yard rush we talked about earlier. Najee Harris had 4 carries for 18 yards and a touchdown. Solid day for him. Jaylen Warren had 2 carries for 14 yards and a touchdown. He looked really explosive. Najee Harris is not going to have the stranglehold on this workload that he's had his first 2 years. Jaylen Warren was really explosive out there. It's pretty clear that he adds another element to this offense that Najee can't really do all on his own. So look out for Jaylen Warren going forward. His role should grow as the season goes on, if not right away. Splitting carries a little bit with Najee Harris. Maybe not a direct 50-50 split, but it's going to be a split. Like, Jaylen Warren is going to get touches on this offense for sure. So I just think Najee Harris is going way too early in drafts right now. Darius Higgins had 5 carries for 12 yards. Connor Hayward had 11 yards. Greg Bell had 9. Calvin Austin had a rush for 3, and Mason Rudolph had a 3 on the ground. So I think really the key here, and it doesn't really show up on the box score other than the yards per carry, is that Jaylen Warren is for sure going to have a role in this offense going forward. George Pickens led the way for receivers. He had 1 catch for 35 yards, a really impressive catch down the sideline. Deontay Johnson had another big catch. He had a catch for 33 yards there. Connor Hayward had 27 through the air. He had 2 catches. Najee Harris chipped in a catch for 16 yards. Calvin Austin chipped in a catch for 8. Gunnar Olszewski had a catch for 8. Allen Robinson had a catch for 2. Really, the main points here are that George Pickens is awesome. Deontay Johnson looked good. And keep an eye on Jaylen Warren going forward because he's absolutely going to have a role. And Kenny Pickett showing more and more why he's a good value at the end of drafts. For the Falcons, they just had a miserable day today. Logan Woodside did all the passing for them, and he got hurt at the end of the game. He was 24-31 for 196 yards. Not sure that he's going to have any sort of an impact if that injury isn't serious. He's probably going to be the third quarterback there. But again, we'll just have to watch on his injury. Taylor Heineke was 0 for 2 with 0 yards. Carlos Washington led the way for all rushers. He had 13 carries on 27 yards. Woodside chipped in 9 more on the ground. And Godwin Igwebuike had 4 more on the ground. Really nothing at all there. And Keelan Harris had 71 yards through the air. He led all the receivers. He had 6 catches on 8 targets. Good day for him. He's probably the only person on the Falcons today who had a good day. Because Matthew Sexton had 3 catches for 29 yards. Carlos Washington chipped in 4 catches through the air and had 28 yards. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside had 27. Slade Bolden had 14. Josh Ali had 12. Yeah, the Falcons got beat really bad today, so I don't think there's anything that we can learn from their performance in this preseason game. The last game of the night was the Colts and the Eagles. The Colts won this one 27-13. For the passers, Gardner Minshew led the way. He was 9 of 11 for 102 yards and a touchdown. He's one of the best backups in the league. That's why I was kind of surprised that they named Anthony Richardson the starter so early. But Sam Ehlinger also did pretty well. He had 6 of 8 for 86 yards and a pick. Not the best day there, but good completion percentage. And Anthony Richardson. So this stat line is not the best. 6 of 17 for 78 yards, 5 carries for 38 yards. He led all rushers. The thing I want to talk about with him is the accuracy does not show up, obviously. Like, he had a low completion percentage in college, and it shows here in the box score that he is not there accuracy-wise. But I will say he has the intangibles. He has the arm strength. He could play in the pocket. There are a lot of reasons to get excited about Anthony Richardson. He's a really good player. I had him as the QB2 ahead of Stroud in the draft, which is going against the grain, but you saw where a good quarterback is going to come from. He has good pocket skills. It's just the accuracy, and I think that's going to come the more he throws the ball. Similar to how Josh Allen was, he also had a super low completion percentage in college. So don't count out Anthony Richardson here because he's making rookie mistakes. This probably isn't going to be a good team this year. That's why they named Anthony Richardson the starter so early. So it's going to be a lot of on-the-job training. I'm thinking that this rookie year is going to be closer to Justin Fields and Josh Allen on, a lesser side than Lamar Jackson's rookie year where he did really well. There's going to need to be some patience with Anthony Richardson, but at the end of the day, this is going to be a very good quarterback in the NFL for a very long time. So just have some patience as he learns to be a more accurate passer. Evan Hull was behind him for the rushers. He had 6 carries for 25 yards and a touchdown. Jake Funk had 5 for 23. Kenyon Drake had 5 for 21. Sam Ehlinger chipped in 10 more on the ground. Deion Jackson had 4 carries for 8 yards and a touchdown. And Gardner Minshew chipped in 2 more over there. Interesting to see how this backfield will shake out because Zach Moss hasn't been getting any preseason time. But Kenyon Drake is here getting 4 carries. He's a guy who always just shows up and gets more carries than we would think he would. So that's definitely a name to watch out here. I think Deion Jackson, he got a bunch of run with the starters. So if I had to pick one guy out of this backfield, it would be Deion Jackson because of that and of how well of a spot start he was last season. So keep an eye on him. But how this Kenyon Drake is still a name that we want to watch out for there. And the more reports I'm hearing, the darker the outcome is, or at least people aren't as optimistic that he'll come back as they once were. So there's a very real possibility that Deion Jackson could be a steal at the end of the draft. So watch out for that. Will Mallory led the way for all receivers, the rookie tight end from Miami. He had 2 catches for 43 yards. Jason Huntley was behind him. He had 36. DJ Montgomery also had 36, but on 3 catches. Kylan Granson, the tight end, had 2 catches for 25 yards. Drew Ogletree had a really impressive catch, that one for 23. Watch out for him. Michael Pittman had 2 catches for 24 yards. Kenyon Drake chipped in 2 catches for 22 yards and a touchdown. Farrell Brown had 16. Rashad Perriman had 15 on 2 catches. Isaiah McKenzie chipped in a catch for 8 yards. And Deion Jackson, he made a lot of his impact during his spot start last year through the air. So if all else fails, he might have a 3rd down role here. But he had 1 catch for 6 yards. I think the most interesting thing that I saw here was that Drew Ogletree might be a legit tight end, but Mallory leading the way here, and Kylan Granson also had an impressive catch. Watch out, that tight end situation is probably going to be a revolving door, and it wouldn't surprise me if Jonathan Taylor doesn't show up and this running back situation is going to be a revolving door also. It's going to be on-the-job training is going to be the term of the season for the Colts. We just got to have some patience because I think at the end of the day, they have a lot of promising prospects here who could turn out to be good players down the road. For the Eagles, Tanner McKee led the way for all passers. He was 19 of 34 for 158 yards. Not as good of a day as we've seen from him. Ian Book was right behind him. He had 11 of 15 for 80 yards. Marcus Mariota, he's gotten way too much negativity in the press lately. Marcus Mariota is still a really good backup quarterback in my opinion. He was 1 of 2 for 21 yards there. And I think that's indicative that they're going to, his spot as the number 2 quarterback in this offense is locked up. So let's calm down with the negativity on Marcus. Trey Sermon led the way for all rushers. He had 16 carries for 30 yards. Super busy day for him. Not the best efficiency-wise, but he had the touchdown. Ian Book chipped in 7. Tanner McKee chipped in 5. Kennedy Brooks had 2 carries for 4 yards. So, yeah, for the rushers, it was all Trey Sermon and, not the best per carry average there. So, probably not a whole lot to learn from there. Deion Kane led the way for all receivers in a big way. 6 catches for 62 yards on 9 targets. Really solid day for him. Freddie Swain had 6 catches as well, but for 33 yards and 8 targets. Joseph Nagata had 2 for 32. Tyree Jackson, the former Buffalo quarterback, I think he was drafted as a quarterback as well. He had 3 catches for 31 yards. Now he's a tight end. Brady Russell, 4 catches for 28. Trey Sermon, the super busy rusher today, had 4 catches for 26 yards. Kennedy Brooks had 2 catches for 16. Also had a big drop, for sure touchdown there. Jaden Hazelwood, another former OU guy. Sermon, Brooks, Hazelwood. Hazelwood had 14. Dana Arnold, the tight end, had 2 catches for 10. And Devin Allen, the former Olympic hurdler, had 1 catch for 7 yards. Interesting stuff here, but I don't think there's a lot that we can learn from fantasy-wise because they didn't really play their starters. But maybe Trey Sermon has that backup running back role locked down because they didn't really give Kennedy Brooks much play. And I think the overall takeaway from the Eagles is chill out on the Marcus Mariota hate. He is a solid backup quarterback. And that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, follow at We Are Drafting on Instagram and Threads, and I will see you later.